Hi everyone, so Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Chance the Rapper album, The Big Day. This is the new album from Chicago singer, songwriter, rapper, and also Kit Kat sales rep, Chance the Rapper, aka Chancellor Jonathan Bennett. Here it is, The Big Day, the day that one of modern hip-hop's most beloved figures finally comes out with their debut full-length commercial album. Because believe it or not, up until this point, Chance has sustained this incredibly high profile in the hip-hop community just off of free albums and mixtapes. 10-Day, Coloring Book, acid rap, and even now Chance still seems to be doing it without a label, as The Big Day is self-released. Now look, I've never been a huge Chance the Rapper fan, a Chance the Rapper stan, but I did enjoy Coloring Book quite a bit. I thought Chance put out a lot of good singles in 2018. Generally, I think the guy is one of the more standout, exciting, and one-of-a-kind rappers in the current field. The way he fuses elements of hip-hop and jazz and soul and gospel are pretty cool when he's doing it on a quality track. Generally, the man's verses are pretty poetic, his pen game is good. So going into this album, Chance has style, he has personality, he has flow, he has lyrical ability, he most likely has a budget and a mountain of producers stumbling over each other to work with him. So going into this, I had no reason to expect anything other than just a quality album. But God, sweet Lord, baby Jesus, that is not what we got. The Big Day is essentially a 22-track torture chamber with 77 minutes of runtime. Lots and lots of features, some of which are kind of bad, corny skits, offensive vocal performances, and honestly, Chance's worst bars to date. The worst ones. On nearly every track here. I can give this album some light praise on some of the features being pretty good. DaBaby, Megan Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj, all of whom bring some decent guest verses. There were also some instrumentals here that I thought were pretty cool. But what Chance offers vocally and lyrically on these tracks is so off the mark, so obnoxious, so excruciating, that it completely just cancels out any positive aspects this album has going for it. It's not merely that we have good features and good beats and Chance himself is underwhelming or not really standing out, or he's just, you know, a little boring this time around. No, that is not what is happening here. I wish that is what was happening here. I was dreading doing this review because it means having to go over most, if not all, of the terrible ideas that Chance has to offer on this thing. But I think this album's biggest problems can be boiled down to two major issues. One, we have these weird genre and guest fusions that don't really come together all that well, that mostly sound like a mess. It seems like Chance is trying to prove himself as a Kanye protege who can essentially bridge these musical and cultural gaps between hip-hop and indie and about a dozen different other genres and orchestrate it in a way where it all comes together harmoniously. But instead what we get on this record are tracks like Rue, which sound like Chance is trying to incorporate the same cold electronic flat aesthetics that Lupe was trying to apply to his infamous album Lasers. I thought the small Coco Rosie appearance on the track was kind of cool though. There's also the opener, All Day Long, which sounds like a very mix of synth funk and electro and rap and gospel. It's like a kid that just won't stop jumping around. Stop, calm down please. Instrumentally, the title track sounds like a bad acoustic trippy B-side from the Flaming Lips discography. And the song Found a Good One is likely the worst hip house song ever recorded ever. It's also one of a few moments on this record where Chance is actively trying to throw back to a more nostalgic time, embracing hip house, embracing older shades of R&B. There's even an instrumental here that suddenly breaks into a juke breakdown. But even when he switches his musical backdrop, Chance lyrically and vocally still manages to fall flat on his face. The other major issue I have with this record, if I didn't already make it clear, it's Chance's singing, his rapping, his lyrics. Explaining how god-awful a vast majority of the writing on this album is difficult. Because Chance isn't just throwing out one or two or even 4 bad bars in a song or in a verse. Essentially, he gish gallops or overwhelms whoever's listening with all these painfully mediocre bars. The opening verse on the first track alone is filled with landmines. If you blink, you might miss it. You gotta click it or tick it. Life is short as a midget, but mine's a little LeBron. I'm about to book a show at the Dimsdale Dimmadome. And shout out to Miss Sylvia Roan, we get along, but that boy Advance gotta be bigger than Diddy Kong. He knows Diddy is the small one, right? Donkey Kong is the big one? Or is he saying the Advance was small and he wants it big? And he's insulted by it? I really don't know. It's not a very good simile. I need stock and it gotta be Pippi Long? Are we serious? My next tour, it got 8 legs like Daddy Long. What the hell are these similes? The Charlize Cologne line in this opening verse just sounds like straight up product placement. And it's not just bad writing on this record, which there is a lot of, obviously, but there are also plenty of tracks where Chance goes just disgustingly sentimental, like on the track Do You Remember with none other than Ben Gibbard of Death Cab for Cutie fame. Instrumentally, the track just sounds like a Macklemore song. Thematically, it sounds like a Macklemore song with just lots and lots of bars that feel underneath Chance's pen. The song Eternal is even worse. It's a track essentially about how side chicks and side dudes aren't as good as what you have at home. They can't cook this good. They can't take out splinters. And not that I'm advocating for infidelity or cheating here, but who is this track trying to fool? It doesn't feel like a genuine expression of love, but more like an attempt to stamp out this nagging temptation. And I feel like those suspicions are confirmed as Chance seems to go into some lies and some transgressions that he addresses on the track We Go High. But sticking with Eternal, there's also a completely comatose feature from Smino on the track that just doesn't go over that well. Then we have the track Hot Shower. More like hot garbage. This song features some of the worst bars Chance has ever recorded, point blank, period. And look, there are some rappers that would sound amazing going this ridiculous. Yes, no denying that. But nothing Chance says on this track is even remotely funny. Most of the time it's like he's just trying too hard to be weird. I don't want to sit and argue Good Burger should have taught you we all dudes. I'm all professional and proper, but my baby mama stopped me in a meeting skirt just to airdrop me some nudes. Not only is this a track where Chance essentially just BS's his way through a trap beat, but this is one of many moments here where a guest rapper handily outdoes him, and there's also the track Slide Around featuring Nicki Minaj, where I would much rather listen to Nicki rap on this beat than Chance, though I do find it kind of weird that both of them at one point sort of rip off the Drake Kiki, do you love me flow. Lyrically, there's just no relief at any point on this album. I think the longest running lyrical oasis was maybe the first few minutes of 5-Year Plan. But outside of that, nearly nothing. The track We Go High, which in that song's defense, it does have some pretty musical passages on it. But then we give the glory to you, God, one living true God. He make us booyah. Pretty sure I need you in this season like a flu shot. My wife nanny like Fran Drescher. 3 damn Grammys, my granny like no pressure. Fuck going straight to the pros, I'm professor. And there are moments on this thing where just the sound of Chance's voice is unbearable. And look, there are songs in the past where I have felt that way, like on 10 Day or Acid Rap, which I noted in my review of that tape. However, I did think that he was on the mend with that sort of thing when it came to Coloring Book, but now it's like it's gotten worse than ever. Like on the track I Got You Always and Forever, which is sad because I do love the shimmering, glamorous R&B throwback the instrumental provides, but when Chance pops in on this track, he's got this squeaky ass voice, this terrible flow that seems just like a ripoff of Shaggy or Bone Thugs. It just makes me cringe so hard I feel like my teeth are gonna grind down to nothing. The most aggravating moments on this record, of which there are many, are the tracks that sound like, hey, this has a pretty good start, this could go somewhere, this has potential, this almost sounds good, but then at some point, Chance does something to just rip that away, whether it be with terrible singing, terrible bars, flat production, a bad guest, the fuck it freak out on the title track, which is cringe as hell, sounds like a bad Death Grips impression. On that same title track, Francis and the Lights has a guest vocal appearance, which is pretty awful too. It's like he's in a competition competition with Chance to see who can do the worst vocal and the worst impression on this track. He sounds like Bon Iver's less talented cousin Don Iver. There's also the sudden peanut butter jelly time references on the track Ballin' Flossin', the totally sucky flat vocal production on the track Let's Go on the Run, not to mention the opening lines, "Hey there, lovely sister, won't you come home to your mister? I've got plans to hug and kiss you. I've got plans to hug and hug you. Oh God." I just feel like I'm nonstop ranting about how trash the lyrics are on this record, but that's literally like all I can do. They're really bad. The song Ladies and Fools is an attempt at trying to create this epic gargantuan closer with lots of group vocal samples with West African drums, some smooth and moody synths as well. The whole thing sounds like what you would get if you forced at gunpoint Tune Yards and Kanye to collaborate on a beat and it just came out really crummy, which is not the only point on this record where Chance is obviously copying Kanye, mind you. Chance's bars are weak on this track as well, and he allows Nicki Minaj to tie the last verse of the song and the end of this album up. I do appreciate that she tries to address the album's themes of love and marriage and family, but I don't know, man, it just kind of seems like he's letting her have the last word when it really should be his. Chance, I think, should be making some kind of attempt at summing this record up, this mess of a record up in some way, shape, or form, and he just doesn't because there isn't a way to, because this album is a pile of slop. I now see why the album on here, I now see why it's clear, because I see right through this BS. There are other points I guess I could go over, like the weird licensing bars on the track Sun Come Down, or the lifeless singing and super bland production and non-song that is delivered on the track Town on the Hill. But really, what's the point at this point? There's so many terrible ideas written and employed on this record. It's either falling short because the base concept is terrible, or it's just been carried out in an awful way. I did not love a single song from this album, not one single track. There were moments where I caught a breath of like, oh, that's maybe could be decent, but it just did not pan out. And considering how long this record is and how consistently unbearable a lot of it is, I just don't know what to say. I am genuinely feeling like a strong 0 on this record. It's like a strong 0 to a light 1. It's a strong 0 to a light 1.
Boom, 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 pa-pow, pa-pow, boom, boom. Hey, you did lots of negative reviews and you unlocked a super special reviewer challenge item.
No, I'm not interested in that.
Behold, I give to you the Infinity Flannel. It's got all the flannel colors, the reds and the greens and the whites and the yellows.
No, it just looks really dumb. It looks stupid.
You don't want it? It's a nice flannel. It's perfectly good.
No, I don't think it's very good. I'm not wearing that. It probably doesn't even fit good.
You're a jerk. You're a real jerk, buddy. This is a completely good thing. I'm gonna wear it. I'm gonna wear it now.
Transition. Have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best. You're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe. Please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Chance the Rapper, forever.